What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the All Sports Best podcast with Coach Cale Sanders. We're doing the Coaches Show, and tonight's podcast is brought to you by CNB Bank. Choose CNB Bank and support local growth. Proudly backing the Cavemen and Cave Girls, we're dedicated to our community. CNB Bank is community-minded, just like you. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Awesome, man.
All right, let's go ahead and I want to get into some of the fun questions first. Let's loosen things up. The first thing was some of the reactions to the Oklahoma drill ban. I don't know if you saw them, but people were furious.
I saw it when it first started, but I hadn't been following it. Like, what do we got?
Just people were so mad. They were like, I just got off of 2-a-days just now to watch this. Like, what kind of weak state is New Mexico and stuff like that? So, I mean, we're talking about teams from Texas and that live and breathe it. And it was just funny to see an Oklahoma drill was near and dear to some people's hearts.
It still is. And I'm not saying we don't do it. But it's
But you're not saying you do.
I'm not saying I do either. I'm just saying it's possible. No.
Sure.
It's just like I said, it's kind of comes down to the coach if they want to do it or not. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, it's a risk versus reward. You know, you got a guy, you already know what he can do. Like, to me, it's not worth breaking a collarbone in some Oklahoma drill to lose a kid for 6 weeks because you want to see what he did in a drill in practice. But
sure.
It is what it is. Like, some people love it, some people hate it. You know, Goddard, when I played, we did Nutcracker. That was a big thing. Very similar to it. It was just, you know, you had one lineman, one offensive lineman, one defensive lineman, one offensive back, one defensive back, and you had two dummies, blow the whistle. And, you know, it was a big thing. I mean, the community come out, like, there was parents, like, Nutcracker was a huge thing. But, you know, my senior year, I broke my collarbone first day of Nutcracker. So, like, it is what it is. Like, there's definitely a risk and reward versus doing it, you know, and sometimes you have to do it because your kids just won't tackle or they're not aggressive enough. Like, drills like that actually breed that. So
sure,
it's up to each their own, I guess. So I'm not a huge fan of it because I just don't like to see kids getting hurt and losing a kid for some drill. But sometimes it's necessary, especially if you got a team that won't hit.
Well, I won't let you just slip that by. Did you come back your senior year to play?
I did. I only missed the first 3 games.
Wow. Okay.
So I only missed
the
first
3 games.
Still came back and did all of that. You know, it wasn't cool, but you know, it is what it is. But
okay, so what is one thing a football coach never wants to see in a player at tryouts?
Ooh, at tryouts. Well, we don't have tryouts per se, but effort. I would say effort would be, like, you can coach a kid's technique, you can coach a kid's, you know, route running ability or his technique on everything. But if the kid don't have a motor or he doesn't care, like, the heart and the effort is something that just it's within that kid, and if they don't have it, they don't have it. So I would probably say that would probably be the number one thing is, if they don't want to go, the other part's never going to happen anyways. So it's the same with coaches. When I hire coaches, like, I'm not looking for a coach that knows everything. I'm looking for a coach that is enthusiastic about what he does, loves kids, energetic, young. Like, it's just a good person. He can fit in the room with all the rest of the coaches. Yeah. And then we'll teach them the X's and O's. The same with the kid. Like, they got all the other intangibles that aren't coachable. We'll teach them the stuff that's coachable. So that's probably effort.
Okay, so I actually sourced this one from the internet. I was looking for, like, what's a creative question? We always have at least a few.
Yeah.
If you could coach one football player in history, who would it be and why?
Ooh. One football player. I got two trains of thought here. I'm coaching the one kid that I want to coach.
Really?
And that's my son.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one.
So I'm lucky enough to do that. I can get it, guy.
All right. Yeah. Somebody's hauling.
But so it's not a lot of people get a chance to coach their kid. You know, he probably doesn't like it near as much as I do, but it's a really special moment. You know, a couple years for me to coach my kid. You know, he's the guy that didn't want to do it when he was young because of dad.
Sure.
So now he's kind of jumped into that role, and he's loved football. And of course, I got to get onto him, but he's an old lineman, so I let Coach Norman deal with him. for the most part. Like
Yeah.
I'm not hands-on coaching his actual position, so that helps because we'd probably. But,
Yeah.
So on that side of the equation, it's really cool to coach your kid. So I think right now I'm coaching that kid. But as far as like if you're just looking out and get to coach anybody, it'd probably have to be somebody like I'm Michael Irvin.
Oh yeah.
So that was my idol. That was I know he wasn't the greatest role model probably outside of football.
Right.
But Sundays that dude went. I wore 88 in high school. That's the playmaker.
Okay.
Michael Irvin was my idol, so I'd probably have to say Michael Irvin.
Very good. Okay.
It'd probably be really hard to coach Michael Irvin too. I bet you he's probably a handful.
Yeah, I bet. No, there's some personality there that's going to be there. Okay. So, Coach, just came off of week 1 against Artesia, a tough loss. So, actually, one of the things while I was on part of the broadcast was wondering, like, what do you tell your team? It's 37-0 at halftime. What is the message at half?
I'll tell you exactly what I said. I told them falling down is an accident. Staying down is a choice. That was my exact words to them at halftime. And it is what it is. Like, you've messed up. We've boo-booed. We've done what we've done. Are you going to choose to stay down and poke your head in the sand and just let this thing just stack up on itself? Or are we going to come out and give everything we got, do what we need to do? At that point, the game was over. I mean, it's I'm not, there's no one, I mean, it's probably possible, but
right.
We get it, right?
Yeah.
I understand it. We had put ourselves in a big enough hole that we probably weren't going to climb out of it. So my thing was just fight. Just don't quit. Just keep fighting. Just get better. Just keep giving me effort. Don't quit. And that's, unfortunately, we learned a lot of those lessons last year because we had to fight that battle all the time. It was that was my biggest worry last year. Is a lot of times these kids, I was scared to death that they were just going to be like, you know what, we're not very good. We're getting beat by 35. We got a running clock, and they didn't. And they fought and they kept fighting. They kept fighting. And I've had several coaches like at district meetings and stuff. They would come up to me and say, "Hey, coach, man, it seems like the bigger hole y'all dug, the tougher y'all got." So that was a compliment to me.
Yeah.
You don't want that year in, year out, but
sure.
I think it's a testament to the kids, and that's all I was looking for the kids is just don't quit. It might be out of hand, but we have a long way to go, and I don't want to see any quit. And they didn't.
Yeah.
They really didn't. And I don't think these kids will. They want to win too bad. They want to win for us. They want to win for the town. They want to win for the community. None of those kids went out there and wanted that.
Right.
None of the coaches
sure.
wanted that. That's what some people don't understand that. But we're not trying to not be good, but it happened, and it is what it is, and we live and learn from it.
Sure. Lennon Annanens had a 44-yard field goal attempt. What went into the decision to send him out there for that? And 2, what is he doing? What kind of numbers is he doing in practice? Because he has to be impressive in practice.
Yeah, so if I'm sending him out at a 44, he's made a 44 before. So that's his range.
Sure.
I didn't think twice about it, honestly. I mean, it's at the edge of his range. It's getting towards the end, but the kid does that all the time, and I have complete confidence that he's going to make that. So his goal is to kick a 51-yarder, and that's a school record.
Oh, that's
which
cool.
Adam Walterscheid actually owns that record.
Okay.
If I'm correct, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay.
So his goal is to beat the school record at 51 yards. He's a sophomore right now, and his range is anywhere between 44 and 48. I don't feel bad, honestly. We've tried several at that 45. We even kicked I think it was a 48-49er in the spring game or the Cavemen clash, but he was a couple yards short on that one. So
yeah,
that's definitely something that I feel he's going to get. And honestly, to be truthful, he'll get the 51 before his season's over. He's only
before the season's over.
Not the season, his career.
Okay.
So he's only a sophomore, so he'll get it. I have complete faith that he'll get that
cool.
51. So.
I was going to say, it looked like it was right on line.
Yeah.
It was good to go. I'm sure you saw replays and film and stuff like that.
Yeah, we slowed it down. It's 3 or 4 yards short.
Yeah.
It's not far.
Just
right
barely came up short. But it was
And
it
there's
was a
no
good
harm,
look.
no foul. It's not NFL where it goes it's a touchback. It's rock and roll. So it's actually better than a, like blocked or, going for it and missing it. There's really no foul on it. So it doesn't hurt us to go for that because they get the ball back at the 20. So.
That's an interesting rule.
Yeah.
But it's good to know.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So broken plays were some of the most dangerous plays on Friday night. How do we adjust to keep things like that from happening? Because it would be like a fumble or a missed snap. They had a lot of mistakes in that front.
Very kind of uncharacteristic of the Artesia football team. But, if they clean that up, that's a really good football team.
It is.
That's probably another 5A state championship. Honestly, they'll probably be hanging 33 again. But on our end of stuff, it's just, they had the fumble snap that our kids just kind of stopped and froze on, and then he threw it for a touchdown. And our kids were like, oh, what the?
Right.
So it's just, it's growing pains. It's stuff. It's great learning tape. Honestly, it's don't do this, don't do this. The one broken play was they ran that double reverse pass deal. We had it covered great, but we had the big play part of it covered. We didn't have the scrambling quarterback part of it covered.
Sure.
So it's just one of those things where you just live and learn from it, and those big plays are they had, I think it was like 200 something plus yards on like 5 or 6 plays, and they were those big broken plays or some they ran a plain Jane out route and just outran us for 87 yards. So the explosive plays hurt us Friday night. Absolutely.
How do you rekindle confidence over the weekend so that the team could move forward? It happened on Friday, so. Come Sunday, you have film day, right? And you kind of get things going?
We filmed them on Sunday.
Okay.
And, we had I wouldn't say a come to Jesus meeting because it really wasn't that. Nobody was really truly upset. We got on them a little bit on the film and what they did wrong and what they could do better. And honestly, it was effort. It was, it wasn't anything to do with like technique or schemes. It was just more attitude and effort and energy. I think that's where we were lacking. Not the Cavemen football team that I had been dealing with since January. And I think they would agree with that too if you asked them.
Sure.
I don't know if it was the Bulldog Bowl. I don't know what it was. Just our kids just weren't. There wasn't us. And the kids realized that. They recognized it. They saw it. And Sunday we flushed it.
Sure.
We watched film, we ate, we lifted, we ran, and then we flushed it. I didn't let the kids watch the film.
Really?
We watched film as a position group, but I didn't. They can't sit there on a huddle and watch it. It's just visible to the coaches, and they don't need to sit there and watch that.
Right.
It is what it is. It happened. Let's move on. We got Goddard. It's a long season. That first game, like I said before, it doesn't mean a whole lot. It'd been nice to come out and have a little better effort.
Yeah.
Give a little better showing, but we didn't. So let's learn from it. Let's move on. Like I said, we flushed it and put all our focus on ourselves. Not really even Goddard. It's not really, we're not focusing on Goddard this week. It's focusing on us.
Sure.
That's kind of been our take on this week is I don't care what Goddard does. It doesn't really matter what Goddard does. If we don't do what we do, we're going to be in trouble again. So that's where we're at.
Injury report. Do we have anybody that's going to be out this next game, or are we pretty healthy?
We got out clean.
Good.
Isaiah Gatton, he's a defensive end. He kind of got a little bit of a dislocated patella, but he's probably going to miss next week.
Okay.
But he's not. It's not a long-term deal. He'll
Good.
be back. He'll probably be back for Lovington. So,
Very good.
we got out pretty clean.
Good.
For sure.
Last year, the Cavemen beat the Rockets. That was their first win, y'all's first win of the year, 27-19. How do we make that happen again on Friday night in Roswell this time?
I think exactly what I just said. We just focus on us. Like Goddard's going to do their thing. They're going to be a little bit different. There's a new head coach. There's a new OC. There's, Goddard's a different breed, but it's not any difference. It's the same kids. They're same tough, hard-nosed kids that'll hit you. you're definitely going to know you're going to football game. But for the most part, it's us. We got to go out and do our stuff right. We got to run our routes at the right depth. We got to, come off the ball. We got to get to the right guy. We got to run the right blitz. All the little tiny stuff that it seemed like we didn't do Friday night, and we've done all year long. And then you put them in that game situation, and they don't do it. It's just like, what? So hopefully it's just to check it off, like, hey, we just big-eyed it, and we were nervous or whatever it is, but we can't do that again. And then if we do, Goddard's going to get us, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think our kids it's going to be a completely different football game Friday night or Thursday night now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, Artesia's 30 minutes away, but it feels like a foreign place with how many people there are that are just a sea of orange. Is it going to be more local feel when you go to Goddard? Is it a little more?
Yeah, they won't have the crowd that that Artesia has, or that atmosphere. And I'm partial. I've played in that stadium for a long time, and back in the day it was packed, but I don't think it's not going to be near as bad as Artesia. I did talk to the Portales head coach, and he said that the crowd was good and they were loud, and but I just how that goes. It's first game everyone's stoked. Everyone wants to go watch a high school football game.
Exactly.
Week 2 it's dies down. Week 3 dies down. Like by the end of the season, it's like 12 people out there, which we don't need that.
Hopefully not.
Yeah,
hopefully not this year.
For sure.
All right. So you talk about really being focused on like self-improvement and how do we get better to beat, just continue to beat what we did the week before each game. What are some of those pinpointed like improvements that we're trying to see coming from last week to this week?
It's a lot of the technique stuff. Like I just use my wideouts for example. We ran a lot of really good routes. Cason played a really good game. He threw the ball good.
Yeah.
But we were catching a pass and we were only getting 4 yards when we needed to get 5, and we ended up in a 3rd and 4th or 1. And that was, strictly due to the little things like that routes ran at 6, not 5. And people don't realize like how important a 4-yard out route is. And I needed it 4, not 3, not 6.
Sure.
I needed it 4. So we really focused this week on just getting back to the basics, going back to our fundamentals, our rules on stuff, our progressions, our reads, our just all that stuff. And I think that's going to, go back to during the week, we just really worked on just the basics and getting back to knowing what we're doing, how we do it, why we do it. And hopefully that kind of gets them refocused back in and gets us, because those little mistakes, they matter. They really do. You can't catch a pass and take a step backwards. You gotta catch it and fall forward.
I did see that quite a bit.
Yeah, we move the chains because we're right there at it, and that route is ran for that particular reason at that depth for a particular reason, and so and our kids know it. That's what drives me crazy is our kids. You ask them, they'll tell you.
Yeah, but with a big crowd like that, it's like,
different.
man, but if I step back and I get clear, that's kind of the thought I've been.
And I get on to them a little bit about, hey, we don't do our own thing because your own thing doesn't work. Just stay within the system, do what you're supposed to do. And success will come, I promise. Like you will get yours, I promise. Just stay by the rules. So so that's what we really focus on this week, and defense did the same thing. Just getting back to basics, blocking, tackling, just the old school. So I promise you it'll be a better product on Thursday night.
Sure. Any incentives for a win this year to the team? Less running, day off? Like, is there anything like that the guys look forward to, or is that a secret?
No, it's not a secret. There's no secret. They don't get no.
It's just not happening.
Yeah, it is what it is.
You just keep going back to work like nothing. Yeah,
it's the same as a loss. So
act like you've been there.
I always tell the boys, don't get too high, don't get too low. So we lost to Artesia, don't get too low. But we beat Goddard, don't get too high. Like don't think you've done something, because that's what we're supposed to do. And then we'll just flush that one as well, and then we'll move on to Lovington, and then to Cibola, and then to so on and so on and so on. So, we just try to take it one game at a time, and we don't have anything crazy specific, as far as games or wins or anything like that. They get treated the same kind of win or loss, but Now I'm saying that out loud, I kind of feel bad. I'm like, all right, we got to do something for them for when they win.
I put the pressure on you. You're welcome. You're welcome to the players.
Maybe we'll feed them steaks on Sunday instead of chicken or something.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. But we'll work on that.
Do you know what Robert H. Goddard invented as we're going against Goddard?
Oh, you know what? I went to high school there, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
That's why I'm hoping you know.
Yeah. So it's he invented the rocket.
He invented I looked it up, liquid fueled rocket. I don't know. I guess it's just gas. Whatever. So I'm glad you do.
There's a big two big old rockets that sit in front of the school, and he was, they got that big museum downtown. But Robert H. Goddard.
But was he from Roswell?
I don't think so.
No, I was going to say, I looked it up. There's like 3 high schools around the nation. It's kind of just a blur. I don't really know.
I don't know where he's from. That's a chime in. Yeah. Trey will buy you a steak dinner if you.
All right. So the student section theme this week against Goddard, what is it?
So we don't have anything that's a road game. So
Okay.
I know we did the
we did Artesia
deal,
okay.
But there's nothing as far as the road game. I don't remember. Coach Millard puts that out, but we'll get him on here and talk to that. But I know homecoming's throwback.
Okay.
So we're doing some cool stuff, homage to some old teams. Even the cheerleaders are doing some cool stuff. So I'm kind of excited for the homecoming game and some of the stuff that we're gonna unrail there. So that'll be cool. So
okay. What unis we rocking? We went icy white.
We went
for
icy
game 1.
white. We'll go white on white. Well, you know what? I haven't actually asked the kids, so that's actually still a big question mark.
A TBD.
They might want to go blue. I don't know, like blue pants. We still got to go white top, but
I was gonna say because they're navy blue, so you can't.
They do.
Contrast.
And so like last year for homecoming, we played Goddard, and I told them we wanted a white out for homecoming, and I knew Chris, one of my good friends. He coached with me at Goddard. He was the head coach last year. I said, hey man, like, can you wear your blues down here? And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. So I guess if I wanted to, we could probably do something, but it's up to the home team.
Sure.
So
okay. Let's see. I've got the field house that I've looked at every single day as I go to work. Any updates on that for the listeners back home?
Every morning I stare at it for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I don't want to incriminate myself, but there might be some trespassing going on with the coaches. We go in there after hours to go just check out what's going on. So don't fire me for that.
You guys take imaginary dry erase and start writing plays on walls?
They're rolling on it. They're getting some stuff done. It actually starting to look like a locker room now, honestly.
Nice. Okay.
Tiles done. The bathrooms are done. The lockers are in. The floor's in. I actually got a picture about 10 minutes ago.
Good.
Of the coach's office's floors getting put in. So I guess someone's over there prowling around. But
yeah. Legally, of course.
Legally, oh yeah,
of course.
They got steel toes and hard hats, and they're
exactly
doing the whole thing. But
it's going to house football, baseball, soccer, track. Like what is all going to be housed
soccer,
there?
I don't believe soccer's in. So it's
No
got
soccer.
baseball and track.
Okay.
And I guess the track and cross country kind of coexist with each other. But the majority of it is football, and then the back there's like a back corner with track, and then baseball has the other back corner. It's a monster weight room. It's got a monster training room. It's going to be one of the coolest training rooms in the state. They got some really cool stuff going on over there. The weight room's going to be awesome. It's a chunk of money they spent on weights. It's branded.
Yeah.
It's all going to look really good. And then of course, our locker rooms are super nice. So I'm excited to get in it, but I don't know when that's going to happen, but it'll happen when it happens, I guess. But I want those seniors to at least get in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I'm really hoping that they can at least spend a week or two in it at least. So.
By your estimate, do you think by the end of this school year, you guys might?
Oh,
You think so?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I think it might not be 1,000% done. It'll be done enough for us to get in and do what we need to do.
Good.
There's walls that are going to be muraled. There's lots of little stuff that probably won't be finished, but it'll be usable.
Okay. Good.
I'm excited to get into it. Like I said, I want those seniors to get into it and at least get a feel for it. We got to run in board with the coaches, and I took bye
placing
week.
bets?
I took the bye week when we're 100% in. So there's
That'd
people.
be cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I mean, supposedly we were supposed to run through it for the first home game, but I don't see that happening. But you know, it's a big project. There's a lot of stuff going on over there, and so you can see a lot more guys ramping up and working lately. There's flooring people, there's concrete dudes. They're rolling, but
Yeah.
I just don't think they're going to get it done.
I've got an idea for you. Full unis, sledgehammers, like construction gear, things like that, photo shoot,
That would
and
be
run
kinda
out.
cool.
Right? I bet you the kids are all for that. I have some students in class.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, Mr. Gonzalez, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And it's just them in their uniforms and they're making, they're posing. They got their eyes closed.
Yeah.
I don't know their whole deal. But, you know, the kids are all for the flicks.
I think that would be kind of cool though, like just with sledgehammers and like,
Yeah.
as long as it's not like a YMCA construction guy,
Exactly.
we'll be all right.
Yeah,
But
we'll be good.
I think our kids they'd be all over that. But
Yeah.
they're excited for it. It's going to be one of the best field houses in the state. You know,
That's awesome.
I'm excited for those kids. You know, I'm excited for the community. You know, it's something really cool that the kids can be proud of.
Sure.
So I'm really looking forward to getting into it.
Awesome. All right, my last question for tonight, just based on what I saw in Artesia, a lot of penalties, and it makes me ask you, what are your thoughts on referees making calls out of position?
It's funny you say that.
I'm not saying it happened on Friday, but
No,
definitely did.
you know, I'm friends with a lot of those guys, and they're human just like we are. We make bad calls.
Sure.
I made bad calls Friday night. They make bad calls. The only thing I can hope is we live and learn from them. And I've actually been in contact with one of the refs on a lot of the calls from Friday night, and he's been nothing but like, yes, send them to me. Let me see what we did wrong. We can only get better from it. So
That's cool. That's
it's
awesome.
cool that they're working, and
That's
that's
rare.
what you want. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, there's stuff that got missed, unfortunately, and there's some big stuff that got missed. And you know, Bubba had that strip,
I saw that.
and
I saw the replay. That's what really hurt.
The replay really hurts because it's
Clear as
obvious.
day. Oh, yeah.
It's obvious that he stripped that ball, and so that was early. You know, they kick the ball off or whatever. We kick the ball off to them. They get the ball. We stop them, and then we get the ball back. Our second play of the game, we throw the go ball to Bobby, and he scores, and they call it back because they're offsides. It was a dead ball. No.
Yeah.
And then, you know, play 15 was the actual Bubba stripping that ball and going. And
Whole different ball game.
it's a different now. Maybe does the outcome change? I don't know. Maybe not. But definitely the feel of the game, because you can't let Artesia jump up on you, and then them start getting all crazy and acting all crazy like they did. Like that's what they drive. That's what they live off of. We played right into it. But if that play happens and that touchdown happens and that strip sack or whatever, that strip touchdown happens, maybe it's a different game. You know, maybe we don't stick our heads in the sand so early, and it's a completely different outcome.
Yeah.
Because that defense was playing really good there for a bit, and you know, who knows? Ifs, ands, and buts, right?
Sure.
But
Sure.
yeah. So back to the refs. They make mistakes. You know, I just hope that they're learning just like we are. It's hard to get mad at those dudes because hell, we can't even. I mean, we got games scheduled for Thursday nights because we can't find refs, which I don't blame them. No one wants to. Who would want to do that?
It's
Who
tough.
would want to go out there and
to get like slaughtered by fans and stuff.
Get slaughtered by fans.
No
and then,
appreciation
hey,
sometimes.
Come pay me. I don't know what they make a game, but
Yeah.
you can't pay me enough to have some coach yell at me and scream at me all game because that's what I'm doing. You know, so like it's a dying breed. So yeah, it's tough to get them, but it's tough to get a really good crew. And we have some decent crews down here in the South. There's some crews that could probably use some work.
Use some film.
Yeah, just a little film work. But for the most part, we get some decent crews. But yeah, they make mistakes. It just seems like we are always on the other end of the luck scale.
Right.
And that comes with winning, right? It just seems like everything goes your way when you're winning, or Artesia always gets the quarterback drops the ball and it bounces right back up to him. we drop the ball, it's bouncing straight to them. Like
Right.
it's just the luck of everything just seems to go your way when you're winning. So hopefully we can change that trend and get some calls our way, get some lucky balls bouncing our way, get an onside kick our way. You know, just little things like that. So
Right.
it's weird how the aura or the dynamics of the world works, but it seems like when you're winning, you get more calls.
Definitely.
So,
Coach, thank you so much for being
Absolutely,
on. Wish you the very best of luck
Thank you.
against a team you're very familiar with in Goddard.
Very familiar.
So good luck. Kill it. Guys, tonight's podcast brought to you by CNB Bank. A big shout out to our sponsor and a big shout out to the Carlsbad Cavemen.